I found this way to kind of hack lard rendering from the pig fat that we had in the freezer. So a lot of things that I saw on YouTube suggested that you grind it up first, that you got a lot more liquid oil before it hardened again out of the ground up lard, and a lot of other people cut it in small pieces. We went with just very large pieces. Well, it broke, but big chunks. That piece I just showed you, and well, that broke again, were all one piece. So what I did was just put the big pieces in the oven at 225 degrees, and it sat for 3 or 4 hours last night, and then I turned it off because I was going to bed, and I'm rendering again today. And I took the potato masher, and by just mashing this up, it's going into those little tiny pieces that people were grinding into, and this is a whole lot easier, let me tell you. So I'm going to grind this pot up and the other one that I have in the oven, and then continue to render, and then I'll do my straining. And this saved me a lot of time and effort. Plus, I only have a hand grinder, and that would have taken forever to cut this up and feed it through there. And that also would mean more washing of greasy utensils. This is pretty easy with my grandmother's potato masher. I've had this for many, many years, and she had it for many years before that. So this is all original paint, what's left of it. I've thought about painting it again, but I kind of like it the way it is. So I'm just doing this, and then I'll probably take it out one more time for the bigger chunks, because there is a little bit of meat on this fat. But this is making it a whole lot easier to do it this way. And it looks like some of these might need a little longer to break up. But that's basically it. And it's going back in the oven, and I'll get the other one out.
What I've got here is a simple plastic bell cloth. This fits really well onto the top of the pot that we're using, so I'm going to use this.
So hopefully that is in front of the camera, and I will go check just to make sure. Yes. So this was the skin that we had saved to make, I'm not sure what they're called, something out of, and none of us are keen on that. And then we cut and scored each one. Don't know if you can see that. So these did release oil a little bit easier, or lard a little bit easier. So I'm going to try this. This is not breaking up nearly as well with the skin on there, and all of those supposedly tasty bits are going to be going to the dogs when I'm done with this, but it is breaking some of it off of there. So I'm going to do this a little bit longer and place it back in the oven. Oh, by twisting, pieces are coming off of these. And of course you want to be hitting each piece on the fat side, not the skin side. But the dogs are going to feast. We're going to have to regulate how much they get, because they'll overeat, and then I'll be cleaning up something I don't want to off of the floor. Anyway, I didn't have any Dutch ovens here like YouTube used. They're up at the new place, and so I reverted to Pyrex ware, which seems to be working quite well. And as I said, this is not coming off as easy, but I don't know if you can see, I'm getting pieces of the fat off of the skin by doing this, and it's a lot easier than trying to cut it off and then running the fat itself through some kind of a meat grinder. They said all I have is my grandfather's grind it, and that does take quite a while because the hopper is not very big, and this would all have had to have been cut smaller. So this is working in this rotating motion on the potato masher. Seems to be doing a fairly good job. I've got, I don't know if you can see it, but it's coming off of the skin, and there are lots of little chunks in there, which will release the oil a lot faster that we're then going to solidify in jars. Okay, I can do that again in a little while after it's now cooked again. So this one back in the oven, and it's still looking quite clear, which on all the YouTube videos was a plus for putting it in jars. It comes out whiter when you use it, and I think less chance of getting rancid. So I'm straining off some of the liquid grease that's on this pig lard, and then we'll heat for a couple of more hours and get the rest. And then doggies and kitties get a treat. So this is how they were doing it on YouTube, but I don't know, there's an awful lot of those small chunks coming in here. Give it a try. It's looking quite good in the jar. When I get done here, I'll show you. I guess I'll just do this till it's relatively full, put the chunks back in. These dogs can smell it. I'm sure they're salivating like Pavlov's operant conditioning. So, not making too much of a mess here. And I'm using a dish towel because I think my cheesecloth has all gone the way of being recycled. But it's got a very open weave, and it seems to be working quite well. We're going to get at least a quart out of this, and there'll be a lot left in the pot at the next round. Very nice. I haven't cooked with lard for years. Since my grandmother's era. And I grew up in the 50s, so it was always Crisco. Which does go rancid, by the way, because I had a bunch in the cupboard to make soap with when I first started making soap. And I checked it 1 year later, and it was rancid. So, got dumped out somewhere on the farm to eventually make its way back into the ecosystem and something hopefully a plant could use. I've got this strainer propped up on a mortar and pestle, a wooden bowl inside of that, and a wooden spoon inside of that to get it right. And the iPad that I'm filming with is propped up or sitting on a big jar of olives that I've had on my dining table for 19 years now, at least, something along those lines. Let's see if we're up. Oh, we are. This has all got to go back now before I overflow. will just save this for the next round. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very clear, as at least with the pictures. I have a feeling that's going to turn white. From what I've seen on YouTube, the ones that were this color turned white. So I'm going to just let that sit there, get a second jar. And I washed these yesterday. I'm going to put this back. Almost cool enough to hold on to, but I don't want to drop it. So I will use the hot pads, but I don't think I need to. My niece made these many, many years ago. I use them daily. It was one of those little weedy limbs that we all had as a child. I made a lot of hot pads for people many years ago. Anyway, she is now a grown adult, graduated from college, etc. But I still use her hot pads every single day. I like them. All right, we're going to start the second batch. And this still has the bigger chunks with the skin in it, so I'm not getting so many small pieces in this strainer. So I've got a strainer underneath the dish towel. And it'll be interesting to see if this dish towel ever gets washed out and resumes to normal. I don't use it as a dish towel. I found it somewhere and thought, oh, that'll make perfect cheesecloth, because the weave was so open. Now this is coming in a little darker, what came off the skins. It looks clearer in the pot, but as it's going into the jar, I can see that it's a darker color, but it will still make very good lard. And I make the world's worst pie crust in the world, but I'm going to try this. My dad thought his mother was the best cook in the world, but he felt his mother-in-law, my mom's mom, made the best pie crust in the world. And he said the reason that was is she used lard. He always said that. It was funny. It's kind of a joke we still make about my dad and his liking Grandma's pie crust, his mother-in-law's pie crust, better than his mom's. Well, and I remembered not to have YouTube on while I'm filming this one. The one I filmed previously, I had YouTube running over there, and I didn't even hear it, but you definitely could hear it on the video. Okay. We have got 2 jars. I think it'll be easier just to change the camera to show the 2 colors. So that's the difference in the 2 colors, and this is the one that has all the skin chunks in it that were then crisscross cut. So, and this is just from the fat. Very interesting. It'll be interesting to see what color when it hardens up it is.